Welcome to NC Political Tea, the show where North Carolina's political scene gets served piping hot, grassroots style. We're here to shake up the status quo with unapologetically conservative takes and a whole lot of Southern charm. From the halls of Congress to under the dome, we're exposing the deals, the drama, and the dirt that the mainstream media won't touch. Who's fighting for your freedom? Who's selling out to the woke mob? And who's about to get roasted? No fluff, no filters, and absolutely no time for spineless politics. Just bold Republican commentary, sharp analysis, and enough sass to make the left squirm. So grab your sweet tea or something stronger, and let's dive into the hottest headlines and juiciest scandals rocking the Tar Heel State. This is NC Political Tea, where the truth always gets served.
Well, hello, Mrs. Claus. How are you?
I don't know. I feel like I got glitter bombed.
You look very, very festive.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for Target.
Merry Christmas to you.
At least I got to wear this crazy sweater one more time.
Yeah, if you've got an ugly Christmas sweater, I've got a couple of ugly Hanukkah sweaters. I just wear it. It's one and done.
This is going to be two and done. I wanted to get my money's worth out of it 2 times in 2 weeks.
Exactly. And I wore Christmas green. So we are on, by the way, happy third night of Hanukkah, everyone. Hope you're having a lovely season.
It's been a crazy couple of days, Sloan, and I think we need to talk about it.
It's been crazy. So I will say that Trump did give us a partial Hanukkah gift, I guess you can say, with a travel ban. So I'll put up an interview with the Homeland Security Secretary and see what you think of it. Ready?
More nationals into the U.S. What do we know about that?
Yeah, the president's proclamation expands the administration's existing 12-country travel ban to 5 new countries and also to people with documents from the Palestinian Authority. It also adds partial restrictions to 15 countries, most of them in Africa. The White House cited widespread corruption, fraud, and unreliable documentation and records from those countries as the cause. And it comes after the administration pledged to crack down following the shooting of 2 National Guard soldiers by the White House by an Afghan national.
Okay, and as Afghan nationals, we've already talked about that, but Tim Moore was leading the North Carolina House at the time. I think it was in 2021, and he petitioned Biden. We were the only state to petition Biden to beg for those unvetted Afghanis to come into North Carolina, and now we have them here.
And we don't really know where they're at. That's the other part. They come here, but we don't. There's no one's really watching or tracking to see where they're at in the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're all over the interior. We don't know, but I think the best guesstimate, I believe what I read out last week, was 3,600 that we know of.
That's the that we know of part.
Mm-hmm.
And I did see 2 of the countries I remember seeing were Mali and Sudan were on that list. I don't recall the other ones right off the top of my head. I don't know if you do. The
Palestinian Authority is this is how it's interesting. You're going to see Gazans come in under a Jordanian or an Israeli passport usually. The whole Palestinian Authority designation is relatively new, but I will say that the activists who are among the people that are coming into the interior of the United States have that designation. They very much wanted it to be a legitimate state. So that doesn't really hold a lot of meaning. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't affect people that are going to be here on work visas. It doesn't affect current visa holders. It doesn't affect that. The reason why it's in place, you can call it a Muslim ban, you can call it whatever you want. But if a country, we talked about this, if there's no way to vet someone, why are we bringing them in the country?
Well, and it makes me think about North Carolina and that law that bad law, which we'll talk about later.
Yep.
It does. There's a correlation there, though, because if the feds can't vet them, what are they doing here?
We're going to get into that. So Sad was on Jesse Waters last night to talk about this and the ideological underpinning. I mean, if you're following my X feed, I put Islam and Islamists, right? This is incompatible with this country, because Islam there's part of it, this religion, part of it, the biggest part is law and a political movement, right? So there's three different things. Muslims suffer under that political law, okay, and on the politics and the law, right? So, but Gadsad has a good explanation for it. He's no different than Dan Barami, who we bring on all the time, but he's going to explain it very concisely why it's not compatible. You might like this.
Any adherents that are perfectly lovely, but does Islam contain tenets that are perfectly incongruent with Western liberties? Nothing could be clearer. We don't need this kind of diversity.
It's very hard to screen those types of Muslims out. I mean, you can't just screen away people like that. I mean, they can radicalize, they can self-radicalize, they can hide from Customs and Border Patrol agents their true intentions. I mean, what is the solution?
I don't like the term "they can get radicalized." It's as though that's outside the religion, right? There is no Islamism. There is no radical, violent, extremist militantism, right? You don't just add a bunch of isms and a bunch of qualifiers so that you can hallucinate about it being different from Islam. Islam is a codified set of ideas. If I choose to ignore much of it, I will be peaceful. If I choose to take it seriously, I won't be peaceful. So it's not radicalization. It's simply whether I adhere to the tenets of the faith or I don't. And so
okay,
it's probably not going.
So you're a Christian, I'm a Jew. When we get closer to our scripture, we're nicer to people. We show up on time, right? We make sure we try not to lie. All these things. When Muslims get closer to their doctrine, okay, they become a national security threat.
That was very clear in what he said. He's basically saying either you're practicing as an end devout or you're not. And so that's kind of an interesting take too. I mean, if you think about it, I think about things like, and I know you know this, one of the first places that was really brought into the Islamic faith is prisons.
Yep.
That's
true.
I know. And I think, were they in a position in a prison when they were brought into this faith to go take out the people that aren't like you? I don't know.
Well, it's, pedophilia is legalized, beating women, stoning gays. And people push back on me when I put this out there and they say, well, Christianity, in the Torah, the Old Testament, they had the same things. And you're correct. There's something called abrogation in the text or in the tenets of the Quran, right? And it says, okay, so we can read stuff in our Bible. I mean, the Bible's wall-to-wall murder. Let's face it, right? But pastors and rabbis will translate it and say, well, we're more modernized, right? That's a symbol for this. That's a symbol for that. There is no changing what's in the Quran and the Hadith. It is what it is. And if you try to change it, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. So there are no imams that can say, oh, you can follow this and not that, etc. Period. And it says specifically, kill the Jews, find them hiding behind the tree, kill the Jews, Christians, etc., infidels, non-believers. It also allows taqiyya, which is lying for political purposes or otherwise. So you're not really sure. By the way, these are the facts. I didn't write them. I didn't make them up. There's 2 billion Muslims. And you're right to point out to say, well, they can't all be like that. Hell no. But there's 2 billion. So even if it's 10%, that's an overwhelming amount.
Yeah, that is an overwhelming amount. I don't think it's fathomable for people to understand what that represents when you talk 2 billion. And I also don't think people understand it's not just the tenets you spoke of, but they really do have specific guidelines for how to treat women.
Yes.
And that's not talked about a lot. It's seen, but it's not talked about a lot. And if you're not a woman of their faith, you're expendable.
Well, and it's very easy to convert into the religion, especially if you're with a Muslim man, and Muslim men can have, multiple wives, etc., which again, Sharia law, Muslims, if you're adherent to your faith, okay, you're not going to follow the land or the law of any land. You're going to follow Sharia law. And that is not compatible with the West, just like Gad said. For instance, multiple wives. For instance, beatings and rapes. And we've seen this. We've seen this in the UK, where they have these rape gangs. Well, that's completely permissible in their religion and in their country. Now, I know plenty of Muslims who, in fact, I know reformists who are Muslim women who are wearing the hijab, who are fighting for changing their religion. And by the way, they're from different countries. And if they weren't living in America, they would be killed.
Right. They seek the protections here because they want not just to practice their faith, but to live freely and feel as if they're not going to be assassinated, basically.
Yes, absolutely. So if you are a reformer, you're a current Muslim and you're, living here, you do get, you're able to come here and live. And then we know plenty of former Muslims, and that's where we get a lot of our information too, is what it was like living as a Muslim under, and you're living under Islam. That's the point, is that Islam isn't, yes, part of it's a religion, but it's a dome. And the goal of Muslims is to spread that and conquer every single.
But it's not just a religion. They turn it into a political statement. Mm-hmm. That's what you see in Iran. And basically in Afghanistan, it's not just a religion. It becomes the political statement of the country.
Yes, correct. And their goal is to expand the caliphate. And so that's the issue. Is it the goal of every Muslim? No. Just like I said, a lot of Muslims come here. They're just like you and I. They want to, live, be free, etc. But again, if we've got, 1 million, let's say, living in North Carolina, I think that's a little high. But in 10%, right?
That's enough.
Correct.
That's enough.
Yeah. And the whole point of the travel ban is we don't know, right? We don't know who is closer to their faith and who's not.
The whole point of the travel ban is to protect Americans here.
Period. America first.
That's right. Yep. And that's what it needs to be looked at as.
Correct. And oh, by the way, guess who else has travel bans? The UAE.
Most countries do.
Egypt, right. And so this is pretty standard. But the West has been stupid.
We've been more charitable, more open, more vulnerable than most countries, and we're paying for it.
Oh, we're paying a big price, and I think we'll continue to pay that price, unfortunately. So it's a good first step. So we'll see what happens. Speaking of offensive, I don't know. Were we speaking of offense? We're always speaking about things that we're offended by, right?
Absolutely.
The Minneapolis police chief used the occasion for addressing a church to talk about how immigration restrictions reminds him of, the birth of Jesus Christ. I want to play this.
For our communities here in the city. The fear that people are experiencing is real. As our mayor has said, it's been sad to drive down Lake Street and to see so many of our businesses either closed or empty. It's hard to see the impact that this is having on everyone in our community. It's especially personal to me,
get ready,
having been raised a Catholic, to be in a Christian church this morning as we are approaching Christmas.
Oh, God.
And I cannot help but think of what is happening in our city today and how that echoes with how outsiders have been treated for thousands of years. How Mary and Joseph themselves were considered outsiders and forced to stay in a barn.
I think there was no room at the end. I don't think that was because of where they were from.
Well, this same guy.
That's not what I was taught.
Well, this same guy, I bet, doesn't give a damn about Jews being turned away from where they're staying and what they're doing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
What about homeless veterans, buddy?
Oh, I'm sure they don't care about displacing veterans.
Homeless American
That's
veterans.
right. And then putting in illegals. I'm positive of that. You can bet your ass on that.
I can just tell you that man's Catholic, because I could tell you right now, I was raised in, my grandma was a Southern Baptist, and we learned it. Away in a manger, no food, no room for a bed. The little Lord Jesus laid down his sweet head. That wasn't because they were turning him away. There wasn't any room in the inn.
Right. Plus, there are a lot of animals there. That was pretty cool. And then they got gifts.
That's true.
So, I mean, they got the gifts in the registry. Like the frankincense, the myrrh. I mean, because you got to, you got to have gifts. So it all worked out.
It did work out.
Jewish mothers are very particular about the gifts that they get. And all of that.
Frankincense and myrrh.
And
there was other ones.
Yeah, you would know about that. Frankincense, myrrh, and there's one more, right? Okay, if you're listening, tell us what the other one is.
I'll send you a Santa hat.
Is it one of those silver rattlers? It's engraved. Got to have one of those. All right. So yeah, things are moving very fast. There is a murder. First of all, there's a terror attack on the first night of Hanukkah in Australia. 16 Jews were gunned down. It's the first major Jewish massacre since October 7th.
And am I wrong to say that's since October 7th, that's the largest group? Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure I was right.
It is. And it's typically on the holidays. It was done by, here you have two Muslims who were close to their faith and did it. And then you have one Muslim who was not close to his faith, or maybe he was, and he deliberately disobeyed his faith and stopped the murder. Now, to be clear, he didn't know. He didn't know whether or not they were going to go kill Jews or what. The point is he intervened. And if you saw the video, he intervened in a very big way because the guy had the gun out.
Yeah. He just went behind him, pulled him down, took the gun away. And then the guy and put it up on a tree. Like, what?
That's a bad motherfucker.
I don't know. I would have just probably not done that. But I also heard, listen, Sloan, this is something I heard I didn't know. If you're in a situation like that, if you take that gun and you turn it around and you shoot someone, if you're not in imminent danger, they will charge you. They will charge you.
Oh, yeah.
In Australia.
Well, they might, they probably would charge you. You have to be in imminent danger and feel like your life is in danger.
Correct.
That's the only reason why you would ever use a gun.
Yeah, but he put it up on the tree. I'm like, dude, shoot the other guy.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was in imminent danger. Oh, that's
Australians were telling us in a space the other night that because the laws are so weird there, that he probably was like, I did what I had to. I'm done.
Yeah, the laws are very restrictive there, which, by the way, if you're out on a beach and you're at a holiday gathering, if you're a Christian or a Jew, you better be packing. There is no excuse. There's absolutely no excuse. I don't know that they allow it in Australia. But the media wants to say, oh, look, Muslims are really, what they're all about is peace and love. And these two other Muslims, that was aberrant. That was bad ones. The way that Muslims are, right, is the way the good guy acted. That could not be further from the truth. Again, Muslims that are not observant, most of them, right? Peaceful. That's one thing. But that's not what this father and son were. These Pakistanis, that's not what they were.
And did you hear that the young son trained in the Philippines?
I did.
Well, I didn't know if you'd heard that or not.
That's a popular training spot for Islamic militias.
In Indonesia too, I've heard. Anyway, I do want to say this before we move on to the next topic, and that is our heart is with the folks in Australia. I have friends that live there, not too far from Bondi Beach, and I called to make sure they were okay. They are both police officers, but they are on the water side. They're part of the harbor police, but it has deeply affected the countrymen there, and our heart is with you.
Yeah, definitely. It's a terrible situation that we're dealing with, but as Jews, this has been happening a lot. And so now we go to Brown, and Brown is just a really weird situation because
Brown University.
Brown University, 2 fatalities. A guy came in, and there was a killer announced early on, right? Killer caught. FBI announced they had someone in custody. Now they don't have anyone. And now this guy is apparently being, I don't know if he's being officially questioned or whatever. There's a lot of really weird things going on. And he looks like, on the video, it looks similar to the guy who they saw on video. So this is a guy who is a radical pro-Hamas guy who's been a protester, etc., that could have shot the head of, by the way, I think she's the chair or the vice chair of the Young Republicans at Brown University.
Very well respected Ella Cook.
Yeah.
I thought she was from Mississippi, but she's from Alabama.
And so clearly targeted. But what got me was when they were interviewing people after this, they were interviewing several guys with a kippah on, or you might know it as a yarmulke. But this happened right next door to the Hillel house there, and they were keeping Shabbat. So security went and got these guys because they can't use your phones. So the proximity was, it was right by there, and it was in the study hall of a Jewish professor. We don't know who did it. So there's a lot of moving parts. And then tragically this afternoon, this is in my neck of the woods, an MIT professor was gunned down in Brookline. That's about 2 miles from where I have a condo in Cambridge, Massachusetts. So if you know anything about Cambridge, the way that MIT is, there's Mass Avenue, and it's kind of like Duke and UNC, 15501, right? Duke is here, and 2 miles away, or actually 3 miles away is UNC. Well,
Right.
MIT and Harvard are the same. They're down Mass Ave, that one line. So MIT and Harvard are neighboring. And so this guy, apparently, I mean, my husband was in the same lab. My husband's an engineer, Harvard, MIT trained as well, and knew of this guy. He's Jewish and very openly pro-Israel.
Now, is he from America? Is he an American?
He's not. He's Portuguese.
Wow.
And actually, there's a map here. Yeah. See, so this is kind of the map from. Actually, this is even shorter. Yeah, Brown's not very far at all. This is.
So he was at his house.
Yeah.
When this happened.
Yeah.
Does he have a family? Was he by himself?
He had a couple of kids and wife.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I'm not. We didn't get verified if they were home or not. But this is the map, the straight shot that's Brown University also, and you'll see MIT and Harvard are right in that center dot.
Why? What do you know what he did that would make him be a target?
No.
Okay. I mean, it's just odd. MIT
Yeah,
nuclear,
I want-
obviously on the nuclear, doing something nuclear
Look,
and random but not.
no, it's basically a global warming lab.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But so far as I know, but look, we've watched a lot of Dateline, right? People are living life. I mean, I'm not trying to make light of it, but you know, there's a lot of connections being made right now online, and we just don't know if there are any. Right? We don't.
Listen, I'll be the first to tell you, people don't know this, but the CIA recruits at MIT and Harvard.
Yeah.
And so if you don't know that, here's your big.
Yeah, they were running experiments at Harvard.
Correct.
Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, and that's theoretically what drove him mad, right?
Well, Klaus Schwab was recruited at Harvard in a summer class. Everybody knows that. So I'm hoping I'm not busting anybody's bubble here, but to ask if we knew what he was doing is not an unfair thing to do, considering they take money from the Defense Department that we don't know about and give it to those universities to do things that we don't know about.
Well, Ralph Barrick right here at UNC.
Correct.
Yeah, it's
not saying that's what happened. Not saying that's what happened.
We don't. I mean, look, until we have the facts, we don't know. People are putting 2 and 2 together, and we will wait to see. And again, early on, they announced that they had someone in custody. I believe they circulated some pictures of a guy. I don't know who circulated it, but it looked like a white clean cut guy, blah, blah, blah. No one knew. But witnesses say on the Brown University one, they heard somebody yelling something. Now, I'm going to tell you what, when you're yelling Allahu Akbar or Free Palestine, which there's no distinction there, right? That's what you're thinking.
You're not wrong.
So, I got another little friend for Hanukkah. And I just want to talk about this. I got a Hellcat. I'm telling you, these things are light as hell.
What are they, about $1,000?
I don't know. My little brother got it for me because I loved his so much that I kept borrowing it, and because you can exercise with it.
Yeah.
Springfield. It's one, and by the way, this site on it is amazing. I mean, you just set it, look, and it focuses for you. It's amazing.
Oh, wow. Very nice. Very nice. It leads us into what we want for Christmas from our very own legislature, which would be permitless carry or constitutional carry.
Right. That's what we want. It's been 3 or 4 years maybe 4 or 5 years coming, where we have reciprocity from reciprocity from different states, etc. Plus we can conceal carry without a permit, because the bad guys don't have a permit.
They don't care about a permit.
Right.
They're not going to get their fingerprints done either.
But with that said, this post put up a lot of conversation. And so I will say this: when you are concealed carrying, you need to learn. Well, first of all, you need to learn how to use it, but you need to learn how to train in your holster, because remember, you're not just going to buy it and just
walk around with it. You're not doing that.
Not. And you've got to train with your holster. How hard is it? It is very hard, because look, you've got to have one hand to pull up your shirt, the other one to draw. And if you don't, you get it stuck, you end up having an accident. That's just one of many things. You got your finger on the trigger. That's another problem. Here in North Carolina, you've got to take a 9-hour concealed carry class.
But first time. But if you renew, you're done. You don't.
Well, if you renew in time, you don't. But I recommend everyone taking.
You should always be shooting.
It's just BS, baby. Always.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's no reason to have a gun if you don't know what you're doing with it. And practice continues to hone in your skills. And you should never have a gun. I have many, so don't come to my house. Because if you come through my door and you're not welcome, I will welcome you with something. But you need to stay on it. And you should have friends that want to practice with you. And I'm not saying, if you don't know anybody that shoots, go find somebody that does and go shoot with them.
To that end, I want to tell you that I've become a repository for gun instructors, female gun instructors, male gun instructors, some that live in North Carolina, some that live in other places. We have a whole bevy. And so never get a gun unless you're willing to commit to the training. Okay. Just carry pepper spray.
And the use of it when you need it.
100%. And you're going to store it correctly. But always just call us, right? Just text one of us. Let us know, because we are big proponents of that. We need this legislation passed, right? The bad guys already have their guns. So we need the good guys to be able to carry and not having to renew. It took me 3.5 months to get my first concealed carry, to wait.
Yeah. Well, it takes that long here, even in Western North Carolina, where we're much more big gun proponents and not so radical, because getting in one of those classes, they're backed up. So if you're going to do this, do it with, think ahead, make sure that don't just take the class and then forget it. You should say, when you leave the class, when can I come back? Because they're doing that every weekend, and they don't mind if you come, as long as you're not, you're not being disruptive. They don't mind having other people on the target range.
Well, a gun range, is very good business. So if you live in like Wake County, it's a social event, right? We go twice a week, group of people. They have, if you want to go with just women, they have, ladies, whatever. Again, do not get one unless and until you're trained. I'm telling you guys. But having one, and if you're a mother and you have children, you got to have one.
So who's holding up the permitless carry? Who's holding it up?
Well, Timothy Reeder. Timothy Reeder is.
Why does his name always come up? I'm just asking.
He is a Republican, a trans Republican out of Pitt County, but he is a doctor. He likes to, fancy himself as such. He just completed his second term. He's in his second term right now. He doesn't have
a re-election. I hope he has somebody.
Re-election does not have a primary opponent as of this afternoon. I checked, but he is calling reps, and encouraging them to stall the bill or not to vote for it.
He needs to go.
100%. 100%, because he's responsible for another bill that we're going to put up here. But let's get to someone that has the power to strong arm people to do it. And that would be Phil Berger. Phil Berger is the Senate leader here, arguably the most powerful man
in North Carolina politics.
Yeah. And I interviewed his challenger, Sam Page, Sheriff Sam Page.
10 points up.
Yep. So yeah, he's a good feller. So I'm going to tell you, there was a little brouhaha. And another senator, Amy Gailey,
who called us trolls.
She called us. She's involved in nothing. I feel like we're explaining a soap opera, and it is. And
it kind of is.
We're going to get into it, okay? But I'm stealing from the Democrats, okay, who made a pretty cool TikTok video about what happened with Amy Gailey. I'm going to put it up. Y'all ready?
A doorbell, a letter, and a very.
Okay, hold on. First of all, here's Amy Gailey. Wait. Okay, so that's her on the left showing up to Sam Page's house. That's her husband in the back, and that's the letter right there. And there is her in action in the Senate. Ready? I'm going to put this.
Started with a doorbell, a letter, and a very desperate request. One night last week, Senator Amy Gailey drove to the house of Rockingham County Sheriff Sam Page just to beg him not to run for office. Wow. Why? Because Sheriff Page is running against Gailey's boss, Senator Phil Berger, arguably the most powerful politician in the state of North Carolina. And what's even crazier is that Gailey admits it. In her letter, she flat out says, because of the money that Phil will spend in the primary, there will not be enough money left over to keep the supermajority. Your campaign advisors will probably tell you that the maps will save us, but the data shows that the only way we have been winning is because of Phil's fundraising. Y'all, it is shocking to hear a sitting GOP senator admit that their party is so unpopular that even.
Well, I don't know about that.
I don't know about that last part, but he did narrate that pretty good. Thank you to the, I don't know, something holler people. They were good on TikTok.
Oh, wait, let's put this up.
Entering can't save them.
I can't stand to hear him, but what does it say? Hometown holler.
Hometown holler.
Okay. And so I asked Sam what he thought about it last week. Here's what he said.
I had spoken with or communicated with Amy, I believe through text, that she wanted to meet down in Burlington, and I declined to meet. I felt like it was conflicting for me to do so. So I said I didn't want to meet or couldn't meet. And then that was about a month and a half ago. And then the evening before I was supposed to file on a Monday, that Sunday evening about 6:30, Senator Amy Gailey shows up on my front doorstep, wanted to present me with a folder, a pink, purple folder with a letter in it. And basically the letter was in there to persuade me not to file because if I filed, that could cost seats in the Senate. And
okay. So that's weird.
It's so ridiculous. Don't come to our party, because if you do, you'll take up too many seats and we won't have any seats for our friends.
Well, they tried everything. And so what happened was, hi, MJ, thank you. What happened was Trump ends up coming out and saying, okay, I'm going to endorse Phil Berger because Phil redistricted for him.
Oh yeah, he did what he did what a good little boy would do. But what does Trump say? Because he pulled a Mark Walker, and I'm just going to say it out loud. He said, "Hey, look, I'm not adverse to putting Sam Page somewhere in my." Right.
So he endorsed him too.
He didn't endorse him. He said, "I'll hire him into the administration," which is basically what he did to Mark Walker to get him out of the race against Addison McDowell. But here's the difference. Mm-hmm. Mark Walker still hasn't been confirmed yet.
No, he hasn't. He's waiting for confirmation for the ambassador for the International Religious Freedom
Council of Faith or whatever it's called.
Yes. And so, and we were all kind of worried that Sam was going to say, okay, well, maybe I'll just, cash him out.
Give up that fight, Sam Page.
Right. But he's not going anywhere. He's going to stay in the fight. And Amy Gailey looks kind of silly now.
Oh, and can we just talk about Phil Berger's son? Just for 1 second. I just want to say this, Kevin. I just find it very interesting that you will go after one of your constituents because they don't like your daddy.
Oh, he's going after our good friend Doug Isley. Yeah.
That's
So,
right.
so on the city count, listen, the best stories are county politics, guys.
They are.
County politics is, I'm telling you, rough and tumble as any mafia family.
You're not kidding. There's defamation cases going on over there for things that were said in elections in the past.
People showing up to meetings, beating the shit out of each other.
Oh, wait a minute. Don't forget the GOP chair stood up and said that they endorsed a Democrat in that county to protect Phil Berger. She stood up in front of the entire executive committee at the GOP meeting in Greensboro. I'm like, this is nuts.
Diane Purnell. Yeah, she's
It's crazy.
I mean, we've got, former hookers, child molesters, all kinds of, since it's the season, partridges and pear trees and shit like that.
I'm not kidding.
Running the GOP. I mean, if you knew in every county, all 100 counties, it is a fucked up little family who, and they all call both of us and tell us all the gossip. So,
or they'll threaten us because we tell the truth.
that too. That's why I have so much stuff going on the state level. Whenever people give me a hard time on the national level, I'm already
3 feet deep.
I'm ready for it. But that's going to be a primary that we're going to be watching.
That one, there's a couple of them, but that one for sure we'll be watching. I think there's several, up this way. I think we're really waiting to see if Mike Clampett, I haven't seen him file yet. And Mark Pless has not filed in the Western region yet. So those two are, my concern here is there's going to be a county that turns blue that we weren't anticipating.
Yeah. Well, that happened in municipals. It happened in the specials. 18 seats in state specials in 2025, we've lost. That's a five seat pickup for Democrats. So you have every reason to be cautiously concerned.
Yeah. Well, the races for House seats in North Carolina are very, very close. We are going to have to pick up, I think, 15 seats to really hold the line. And that's a lot. That's a lot to pick up.
We're favored to do it, but the GOP also does a great job at fucking up a one-car parade.
You're not kidding. And here's the big thing. I'm just going to say this to everybody. You must vote in the primary. You absolutely must get out March the 3rd. And you need to tell all of your friends. I don't care if you go to breakfast, if you vote early. I really don't care.
You go to the gun club. The gun club is actually where it's at. That's the place to.
But please go. That's the problem. Here's what happens. We have all these people that show up at the election in November, but they're mad about who's on the ballot because they didn't show up in March to put the people on the ballot. So please educate your friends. March the 3rd is for the primary. We are one of 3 states that start the primaries for the entire country. It's us, Texas, and Arkansas. There is early voting. You're welcome to do it, but just get out there and vote.
Yeah, and we'll be bugging the hell out of you between now and
we sure will.
And so we're about to put up on stage what a Republican legislature can do. The collection of bills that we're going to put up is our top 3 or 4. But what I really noticed this year was law and order. The collection of bills that were law and order, and each one of them was vetoed by the Democrat governor. So it tells you it's a clear, bright line of where the Republicans stand and where the Democrats stand. And you're going to see it right here. The number 1 was Irina's law. So Irina Zaruska was butchered, actually, in Charlotte on the Metro, national attention. And so the Republicans went to work. I think they did this over a 1-week period.
They got it done, though.
They got it done. I believe it was was it 2 or 1 Democrat that pushed us over?
I don't know. I really don't know.
It was one. And you know who it was? It was Carla.
Did she help with this one?
Yeah.
I know she did the ICE bill. I didn't know she did this one.
Well, we'll have to find out. So there was one Democrat that pushed it over. But again, the Democrat vetoed it. Josh Stein, Democrat governor. So no more no money release. We've been over this before. Magistrate oversight, death penalty resumption. Let's get that shit going.
Well, that's probably the biggest reason why Josh Stein wouldn't sign it, because he didn't want to put anybody to death. And he likes letting people run free.
Oh, hell yeah. As long as it's not in his neighborhood. You're damn right it does. Okay, this is the bill you were talking about, H805. It doesn't really have a sexy name, but it's got some things that we really wanted to protect children. Porn site verification. We're one of the last states to do this. I know. Parents decide what their kids can access in the libraries. Okay, so if you do not want
school.
Well, I'm going to bring you into my world and how I talk to my kids. Okay, we're going to get that in this. Okay, so if you do not want your children reading Hustler magazine at 4, okay, fast removal if there's somebody's taking pictures of you or whatever, or even AI. There's even something about AI, like if somebody doctors, it's happening all the time now.
I'm sorry. It's also a federal law too. So now we have a state law and a federal law for that.
Okay. So no ding-a-ling games on school overnight trips.
No, what that means.
Ding-a-ling games is all encompassing. Ding-a-ling games obviously means
messing around.
Right. And so I use it in my house to say, oh, be careful about those ding-a-ling games because boys want to play it, or girls, because I've got one of each, right? Ding-a-ling games is all encompassing, and you can warn people about what the ding-a-ling games are, and they know. They just intuitively know. So some schools wanted to say, okay, if you want to say that you're trans, or if you want to say that you're non-binary, right, or asexual, then yes, you can, 16-year-olds, go on a field trip and sleep in the girls' cabin.
Nuh-uh.
Ain't no
Not
damn
anymore.
Game. No more ding-a-ling games.
That's funny. I love that.
now,
for some reason, I can see Brandon Jones putting that on the bill.
Okay, so if y'all want to use my terminology up there in the house, you can say no more ding-a-ling games are going to be going on, because now it's going to be girls only. Okay, that are sleeping in tents or wherever you go on these things, and then, which makes sense.
Good.
Okay.
That's a step closer to safe spaces. I'll take it.
I mean, damn. Okay. So, S429, stronger penalties for, exposing children to drugs. I mean, if you are, I don't know, there's some parents out there that, I've heard that smoke pot with their 14-year-olds.
Good. I'm glad that they put stronger penalties.
It's be a felony, or, older people, working at restaurants, and you've got younger people there. Online predators. So it's going to keep people in jail for longer. Privacy protections for children who call 911.
So can we talk about number 2 for 1 minute?
Yeah.
Here's the deal. Why would we just make tougher consequences and still not have lifetime sexual predator sexual registries? Why is North Carolina one of the few states that doesn't have lifetime sexual registry?
I believe we have 10 years.
30, 20, 30. How come Harvey West only got 7?
Right. I'm not sure.
Well, the point is we need a very consistent policy, and I'm all for indefinitely.
Yeah, I think that you should be branded for life. I don't think that there's a lot of studies that show a high recidivism rate for child sex crimes.
Right. If you did it to one girl and then you did it to another, I mean, come on. Anyway, go ahead.
I don't know, and I'm thinking that I remember there's a Supreme Court case about that. So that's a good one for me to sort of look up. So this is another bill, again, Republican driven. I had to put this there. I love this one. It's great for the economy. It's great to protect private property. Anti-squatters law. I mean, a lot of, they call them snowbirds, right? They live in Florida. And they live in Florida for 6 months, and then they live in North Carolina for 6 months. a lot of that, a lot of Airbnbs. We have a lot of travel, especially by the beach and where you are. And so basically it says, look, we're going to kick your ass out. We're going to expedite it. So it doesn't take 30 days to do it.
30, 60, 90 days like they do for evictions.
Correct. And there's going to be a special procedure, special court, so that you can protect your own property and your own investment.
Good. I love it.
I love it too.
Are those the three you got? I just have an honorable mention, and that is that I can't remember what the bill is. Hold on, I'll have to look it up because I had it out for you. But there is an honorable mention, and I think it has to do with domestic violence. I think it's worth mentioning because that's a big deal. Seems like it's a bigger deal than it should be, but it is a big deal.
Bill number?
I'm looking for it right now. It is bill number 420, SB 429. And the reason why I want to make an honorable mention of that is
429. Okay, so it's the same bill.
Yes.
Okay.
One section that you didn't talk about is for domestic violence protections, allowing people who reside outside of North Carolina
to get a restraining order.
Correct.
Tell me why that's necessary.
Well, because I live on a border, in the border areas. If you date somebody that lives in Georgia, or you live in Georgia and you date somebody in North Carolina, there used to be this restrictive thing that said, sorry, we can't help you. And it causes domestic violence to continue. So it's not just about living in a border county, but it is about the fact that people do date people from other states, and domestic violence does occur in this state. And if it does, you should be able to report it to the state instead of getting the runaround between two state agencies going, no, you need to report it here. No, you need to report it there. It's a big deal. And a lot of military too. People move here with their spouse or with their spouse usually. And then when there's domestic violence, they want to move away, but they still want to charge and get that protective order.
Okay. All right. Well, good. We did it. And I'm glad. So there's been, the collection of bills coming out has been really good. Whereas last year we saw a lot around education, the Parents' Bill of Rights, and the HB 808, which prevented sex changes on minors. And again, I love that Majority Leader Brendan Jones and Destin Hall are doing oversight hearings. So it's not just, the law, but the teeth.
Come on, you got to admit, him throwing those books behind him going, this is garbage. It was funny.
He's very dramatic. I bet he's the kind of guy that would say ding-a-ling game. So I'm going to put that to the Majority Leader to see if he wants to use my nomenclature the next time he's crafting a bill.
You do that.
Let's see if we can get a judicial interpretation of ding-a-ling games.
If you do, I'll give you $100.
Me too. Okay, so one of the stinkers, in fact, I'm not done raising hell, but I raised hell the likes of which you've never seen. Both of us did. A doctor's bill. Let me just show you what's involved. Actually, the guy on the left is in charge of that, but let me just put this up. Hold on. Sorry. Just to prove we're not AI, we make mistakes. Okay, so let me just give it to you in a nutshell. Okay, now, all right, if you come in from Boston or Bangladesh, doesn't matter. You have to go to a residency, medical school, obviously, a residency, and take what's called the USMLE, which has steps and stages, right? So before you can get into residency, you have to take the USMLE, standardized for everybody in America, and residency. Now, North Carolina is the only state to say, you don't need to test. You don't need any U.S. test. Okay. You can graduate from any shithole medical school that you want in Gaza, Afghanistan, pretty much anywhere on the travel ban.
Unless you're an American.
Now, if you're American now, so you can come here, you can fly over from whatever shithole you came from, and we're going to hand you a provisional license, right? You can come off, you can start practicing, no supervision needed, etc. Now, we've been called liars about this, but of course, we saw who the liars are, and we're not done with you yet. So here's the golden ticket. It bypasses the current U.S. training standard that American medical graduates must meet. And you know what pissed me off the most? Well, there's a lot actually, but one of the things is in 4 years, you just get a regular license and go to whatever state you want to go to, and you're going to be hunky-dory. You don't even need to be board certified. You could have been, I don't know, delivering babies in a tent in Afghanistan and come over here and you're in business.
It's to us, I will say, both of us collectively, this is the worst bill ever that came through last year. And
Republicans.
we're not done. They keep, listen, we have whispers in the wind that they're going to try to fix this in January. You do that. You do that and think you're going to get it past us because we'll see you doing it.
January 1st, this bill goes into effect. Extremely dangerous. Okay, here's the other golden ticket. It creates flexibility that's looser oversight compared to American doctors. American doctors rack up, just in this residency thing alone and all that, what, $200,000 medical school all in of bills.
At least.
Why is it fair? Why don't we just close the medical schools here in North Carolina? We don't need them anymore. We're going to be importing doctors from everywhere.
Well, maybe we should just send them all out of the country and bring them back.
Yeah, have them go to a foreign medical school and then come back, right?
Like going across the border.
This is extremely offensive.
Weird.
To
it's weird.
Doctors. It's offensive as hell.
It is.
And by the way, supervision. Okay, in other words, if you're a resident, you've got 5 years, 3 to 5 years of supervision. You come in and no supervision is required at all. None is required at all. And you know who did that? These three.
Is that Amy Gailey?
That's Amy Gailey.
She sure didn't look like that in that picture.
No, they don't look like they do in the pictures, honey. Benton Sorry out of Johnson County, who's an attorney who called me a liar. Amy Gailey, who called us trolls? Trolls. Okay. And Jim Bergen, who has a primary opponent now. Okay. So they removed, by the way, if you care about your citizens, you don't say that a doctor from a foreign country can come in here. They could be a terrorist. They could have a fraudulent credential, and they can go into the poorest places in North Carolina, the poorest and blackest places in North Carolina, and say, we're going to remove the supervision requirement. It creates 2 tiers of healthcare in this state. Truly, one for the haves and one for the have-nots, who are in 91 counties in this great state.
Listen, if you don't think that smaller rural counties are going to tell us the first time they get a doctor that does something crazy like grape somebody or hurt someone, I just want you to know, Mr. Sorry, Miss Gailey, and Mr. whatever your other name is who may not be there, Bergen, we will publicly be talking about that before the medical board sees it, because I guarantee you they will get a hold of us.
Oh, the medical board. Okay. Let's talk about the medical. And you might say, you guys, you really should, you're out of your depth. You're not doctors. You should put a doctor on, etc.
I'll play the doctor on
medical board. Yeah. We actually had a long practicing. He's actually at Real Doc on Twitter. Real Doc says, but he came on with us. I think he's been a 35-year OBGYN. He talked to us about the medical board thing, and he was just appalled. We've had several doctors on that have been appalled.
And the first part in there was interesting. They said,
by the way, I know this by heart. This is section 2A3.
Yes. There's a couple of interesting things in there. And the first part, they said, successfully passing each part of an exam listed in GS 90-10.1. But when you look at that, they also put in there that the medical board can approve any test they want. So there's all these little safety exits.
The medical board, the venerable body that in 2023 was found to, first of all, wouldn't share with the auditor what they did behind closed doors at all. But the stuff they found out, doctor, is that convicted sexual criminals, felons, were allowed to keep their license. And we did an investigation 6 months ago, and active drug addicts. Let me tell you an example. This is funny because it has to do with laughing gas. But a doctor took nitrous oxide, a daggone tank with him, driving to work. I don't know how you use it while you're driving to work. Wow. Had an accident. Okay. And I guess got a little treatment, got to keep his license and go back. We've seen that time and again. So, okay. So that's who's going to approve of them. People that are letting out drug addicts, felons, and sex offenders still practice.
Yeah, it's kind of like the bar for lawyers. What are they going to do against their own friends? But that's a whole nother story. But you're right. You're absolutely right. And that's still one of my favorite stories, by the way, if we're going to talk about number one stories about the medical.
Oh my God, we are. We're going to have a best of. We're going to have 2 best of shows that we're going to run reruns toward the end of the year. Okay, so it sets a precedent, different standards based on where you trained, not your skill level or outcome. So American doctors get the middle finger and a $250,000 debt. And if you're a foreign trained doctor, you're going to be going to the front of the line. Okay. And there's no uniformity of training, none whatsoever. So you don't know. And then the consumer doesn't know. And that's the thing, is it's primarily it's going to be Medicaid and Medicare patients. You've got elderly patients, you've got, working families, you've got children. So it's going to confuse, hurt, and probably kill some of the most needy people in North Carolina.
The most vulnerable people that don't deserve that.
So now we have worse than California. We are worse than California. We are the most lenient, as of January 1st, we are the most lenient state in America with respect to licensing doctors.
We're really catching up to California in that, and even in our education. It's sad. And that's not one of the ways we want to race to win.
It's not. It's not. And one of the biggest stories that I wrote this year, and this is again Phil Berger, this is probably why. 18 months before this foreign doctors law was signed by the Democrat governor here, Blue Cross Blue Shield, who has 83% of market share, you want to talk about a monopoly, 83% of market share of insurance, bought, I'm just going to throw this out there, I forgot the number, around 80 primary care healthcare clinics, right? And they gave these guys, these senators, all gave them money, and Phil Berger a lot of money to probably make this law. And they're going to be making money for it. So they're going to be charging people, having subpar doctors. It's not that's how you do business, right? You want to keep your overhead low. And so they're paying for it.
This is heavy, Sloan. What can we close with that's not so heavy?
Well, we're going to close with the primaries we're watching. Okay. So the primary we're watching, again, Phil Berger, you can blame him for this foreign doctor bill probably more than anyone. And Sam Page, we told you about that race. We're looking at NC1. Maybe there's a new.
Sandy Robertson's out, though.
Okay. Sandy Robertson's out. Okay. So the guy on the end is out. It's Eric and Bobby Hanick, who is favored.
Yeah. Point. But we have a wrinkle because tonight on a Facebook page, Lori Buckout put a picture of herself next to Donald Trump and said something to the effect of Donald Trump makes an announcement on Friday in Rocky Mount. So that's philosophy development, just so you know.
Forgot to tell you guys, our President Trump is coming to Rocky Mount
Friday.
So that's going to be very, very exciting. If you've never seen a Trump rally, this is your opportunity to do it. It's going to be great. So this is one.
Oh, wow.
House 51. So John Sauls, a longtime representative, is not running, I guess. Charles Taylor, who is the current mayor of Sanford, and our very own Sherry Lynn Womack, who has been on the Lee County School Board for years and has made amazing changes, wants to bring her record of education reform and spitfiredness up to the General Assembly. That's going to be fun.
Well, first of all, that's Colonel Sherry Lynn Womack.
Right.
And if you've never met Sherry Lynn Womack, you don't know what real ammunition is, because that woman is fire. She's past fire. She's nuclear. She's amazing. She truly is. And she does everything she does with care and concern for her, constituents. She stands up for the children, which most school boards did not. During COVID, she did. And one of the things I love about Sherry Lynn is she's a true girl's girl. If you're running for an office, if you've got something going on that she can help you with, she's going to come and advocate for you. She really does care about people.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm super excited to see her beat that guy's
Cares
ass.
about getting it right.
Absolutely.
Sherry Lynn cares about getting it right. In fact, she's been a confidant of mine when I'm running campaigns, and she's the kind of person who will look at you and tell you, you're full of shit. You're believing your own stuff.
Yes.
She's very, I think she'll be a huge asset to the body. I'm not a big fan of, oh, she's a woman, blah, blah, blah.
No.
But if we're going to say that we're going to have a woman, this is the one I would want, right?
She's the one. Listen, they're going to be, a lot of men will be intimidated by her. And she's not a tall, statured woman. That's not what's going to intimidate them.
Yeah. Yeah. But she's going to be a Spitfire. I believe that's a R+20.
Oh, so, really?
Yeah. So whoever wins that is going to win. So we're pulling for Sherry Lynn. That's going to be a lot of fun to cover her, to work with her, and to support her.
Get out there, Lee County, and vote in the primary, because Charles Taylor, he raised your taxes, and he wasn't so nice to you when it came to some of those permits you wanted. And Sherry Lynn's been watching your children.
That's right. God, I'm so excited about this primary season. It's coming up. So again, we're going to have shows on, and they're going to be on each Tuesday and Thursday. It's going to be the best of, and I've got literally like 6 segments that are really funny. We're really funny people.
We try.
Sometimes when we're not trying, actually, that's some of the best.
All right. Take us out, Flo.
Have a great night. Happy holidays to all of you.
You too.
You're coughing.
That's a wrap on today's NC Political Tea. We hope you're leaving sharper, spicier, and ready to take on the political craziness in the Tar Heel State. If you loved what you heard, or even if it made you mad, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this show with your friends, family, and that one coworker who just needs the truth. Follow us on social media to stay in the loop and get your daily dose of conservative fire. And remember, here in North Carolina, the grassroots grows stronger when we stand together. Until next time, keep the faith, keep up the fight, and don't let the left water down your tea. This is NC Political Tea, where we spill it like it is.